websites, and we're talking about 5 ways content marketing will grow your business. Again, my name is Maggie, here from Advisor Websites. Really happy to have a chance to talk about content marketing. It's a strategy that we use here at Advisor Websites because it works. I'm also really excited to have Katrina over from Advisor Stream here with us. Katrina is a content marketing expert and is going to be able to share a lot of her knowledge with you today. Katrina, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Really excited to be here.
All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to spend the next 40 to 45 minutes covering. First, I'm going to quickly touch on how consumer behavior is changing and really why you should care and how this is related to your practice. We're going to spend a little bit of time sharing some stats and information about how content marketing works, what content marketing is, and why you should be using it to drive new business. Now, the bulk of today's presentation is going to fall under this last bullet point. Katrina and I are going to share 5 ways to use content to effectively drive new business to your financial practice. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it here. And maybe to do that, Katrina, I want to quiz you. All right.
Oh boy.
So if you could take a guess, how many financial advisors would you say that there are in the U.S. today?
So this is totally a guess, but I'm going to say around 500,800. Total guess.
Okay, so you hit the nail on the hammer. Bingo. I think maybe Katrina saw these slides before. That's okay. Yeah, this is a huge number. Essentially, if you're a financial advisor in the U.S. and all of, you have a competition pool of around 5 or half a million. Now, in Canada, I know many of our audience members are from Canada. Rough stats. There's roughly 40K independent financial advisors in Canada. Not quite as big here, but this is a huge number. So the big question that we're asking is, out of this huge pool, how do consumers find you? Now, a lot of the more traditional marketing tactics that we've used for years and years in this industry aren't really as effective as they once were. Things like direct mail, cold calling, paid advertisements are a little bit antiquated. And even though we still see these things being used in our industry, they're not really as effective as they used to be. Today, we know that North Americans spend upwards of about 60 hours a month online outside of work. So outside of business-related activities, we're online on social media, we're doing research, we're getting information about the questions that we have, every single day. I know me, I spend a lot of time online, in and outside of work, but I think we can all relate to this stat, and I'll share another one with you that hits home for many of us, especially in this industry. We know that 9 out of 10 of your potential leads and prospects, including referrals, are going to Google you to take a look at you and get some more information about who you are before they have a chance to meet you in person. So my question for you is, what do they find? What is on Google when somebody types in your name or the name of your firm? So maybe after today's webinar, my piece of homework that I'll assign is take 30 seconds and Google yourself. What comes up? Are you happy with that information? And do you think that it's something that is compelling and will draw in prospects and leads for your business? Okay, so those are some quick intro stats that have really set the table for today's discussion. We're talking about content marketing, and before we really jump into our actionable ideas and ways to use content marketing, I want to take 30 seconds to define what content marketing is. So there's a few key words in this description, and I'll quickly read this out. So content marketing is creating and distributing relevant, valuable content to attract, acquire, and engage a clearly defined audience. Now, we wouldn't do any of this stuff if it didn't drive new business, if it didn't drive profitable actions from our ideal clients. Content marketing is not just writing blogs. It's not just creating content. The other words in here that are key are distributing. You have to make sure the right people find this content at the right time. And the other hugely important piece is that our content, no matter what form it takes, has to be created for a really specific and narrow audience. That's when we find that content marketing really works. All right, Katrina, I know you have a few more stats with us related to content marketing and its effectiveness, so I'm going to go ahead and hand that over to you. And maybe real quickly before we do that, Katrina and I have a question for you. We want to know what your online marketing strategy looks like. So are you using content marketing today, now that you know what it is? Yes, no, or I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a few seconds to answer our poll question before we share the results, and then we'll really jump into the meat of today's session. Awesome. Okay, so it looks like most of us have submitted an answer here, and this is pretty interesting. I'm just doing some quick mind math here. It looks like about 60% of us, or 65% of us, do not use content marketing yet, and the other 35% are. So whether or not you're using it already, whether or not you're creating and distributing relevant content for your audience, you're going to learn a lot in today's session, and you're in the right place. So this is really valuable for Katrina and myself. It's really interesting for us to get into your heads or into your businesses and see what you're doing already. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, definitely. So Maggie, maybe I'll just kind of get into some of the studies and stats that I found that I think are really relevant for advisors to know about content marketing and what it can do to drive that engagement. So the first study that I want to share with you was done by Vanguard and Advisor Impact, and they found that clients will invest and refer 2 times more when they report feeling engaged with their advisor. And this is really quite significant. If you're able to effectively achieve that engagement with your clients, you'll be able to organically drive new investments and referrals to grow your business at a rate that otherwise wouldn't be possible. And I've included a few other statistics that really demonstrate, again, the power of client engagement through content marketing. So client engagement through content will result in 41% higher client retention, 33% more likely to increase assets under management, and 24% higher monthly recurring revenue than average. So it's clear that creating engagement with your clients and prospects through content marketing, you will see that return in your business. So the next big question that you may have is, well, Katrina and Maggie, that's great, but how do I actually do this? How do I achieve this? So this is what, as Maggie's saying, we're really going to be talking about today, is the 5 ways to use content marketing to build your business. So the first way is to cut through the noise. And having an online voice or trying to have an online voice can really tend to feel like you're trying to talk in a really loud and crowded concert. To give you an idea, every single day, 27 million pieces of content are shared. And that can feel quite overwhelming and almost impossible to try and get your voice heard online. So how can you cut through the 27 million online voices every day? One of the best ways to start is to really know your audience so that you can provide them with the right content that they are actively searching for. And you can do this by creating an investor persona and find out the types of content they read and the questions that they are asking. So to understand this, it may be helpful to first define and think about what a persona is. So a persona is a collection of characteristics that define and embody your ideal client or investor, and it's theoretical. So it's a really good place to start with this and figure out what your ideal client is looking for, and so really taking a consumer-centric approach. I've created a couple examples to tactically show you the types of content you could be posting to attract a particular client base. So for example, if your practice focuses on retirees and or snowbirds, you need to understand the types of questions and concerns this demographic is actively searching for online. So you don't want to be posting about millennials or about the 5 questions to consider when purchasing your first home or 10 things to ask when getting your first job. These are not the questions that this demographic or the retirees and snowbirds are going to be asking. So here are a couple examples from our advisor stream library to give you an idea of what you can actually be posting today. So you can see here a Forbes article on overcoming the 5 big obstacles to retiring abroad, or the New York Times article, Retirees Find Meaning Serving the Needs of Their Communities, or a Globe Mail article which talks about snowbirds, beware the taxman's foreign reporting, rules just got trickier. Similarly, if you're looking to acquire more high net worth clients, again, you need to be posting aligned content that indulges in their needs, their wants, concerns, and interests. So an example here would be a Globe Mail article, How the Wealthy Can Get Burned, or the do's and don'ts of passing down a private foundation by Forbes, or the beginner's guide to chartering a yacht with a crew by the New York Times. These types of content are relevant to your clients and prospects, and they will immediately grab their attention, and more importantly, will keep it. So lastly, make sure that your content is relevant, shareable, recent, and compliant. So 75% of online customers get very frustrated when content posted to a website or a web property has nothing to do with their interests. And as a business point of view, that is a huge lost opportunity, since most bad first impressions are lasting impressions. So it's really imperative to your business to frequently post content. It doesn't need to be every single hour or every single day, but try to get into a routine that makes sense for your business, maybe every other Friday afternoon. Post a few articles that your clients and prospects are going to want to read and want to share to really help get your brand exposure further.
Katrina, I want to jump in here and just echo what you're saying. We work with thousands of advisors across the U.S. and Canada to build really effective websites. And just because a website is beautiful and you know looks really great and is doing everything right, so to speak, stale, stagnant, outdated content doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't help, and it really is one of the biggest mistakes that we see advisors making online all the time. So assume somebody comes to your website, they like what they see, but whenever they're looking for, you know, some more information, one question that they may have is, you know, if your website hasn't been updated or the content, the last time you posted a blog article was like 6 months ago, one question we may be asking from a consumer perspective is, does this company still exist? Are they still in business?
Yeah, exactly, Maggie. And here's actually an example that I posted where a particular client has grabbed some advisorship content that we have and actually has put it on their advisor website, and they've chosen some really recent and targeted articles, just like Maggie's talking about, to show that, yes, we're still in business and we know what we're talking about. We want to provide our visitors with really educational content. And you'll see here there's an example. So whenever a visitor or prospect opens up one of your articles online, they aren't taken then to the Forbes or Globe website where there's tons of competing advertising, where there's paywalls, which is a really horrible client experience. And thanks to our partnerships, we are able to fully ingest that content and ensure that you are taking your clients and prospects on the best possible client experience. So the next way that you can really grow your business through content marketing is to educate your audience. And this is really important. You need to be changing your priority from directly selling to your prospects or your viewers to really seeking to educate them. And I've included a couple quotations that I think really demonstrate the power of educating your audience through content marketing. And I think the first two tie in really nicely with each other. The first is, the investor journey is nothing more than a series of questions that must be answered by the analyst firm IDC, and Google is a new corporate homepage by Jeremiah Owang. So these tie in really nicely together, and if you think back to a time where you maybe wondered something or you had a question yourself, you most likely immediately went to Google and you searched in your question. So it's the exact same thing for your prospects. When they have financial questions, they're going to be going to Google and they're going to be searching for answers. So the content that you are posting needs to be answering the series of questions that investors are going to have, and the more that you do this, the higher up you will be placed within Google, the more likely your website or blog or social media page will be visited, and this will really drive the most leads for you. And the last quotation is by Andrew Davis, which is on content builds relationships, relationships are built on trust, and trust drives revenue. So as Maggie was talking about content marketing, this is really what it's all about. It's about being more consumer-centric. It's about focusing on the needs of your ideal investor and really building that trust and thought leadership, which ultimately converts into revenue at a much higher rate than attempting to explicitly sell to them. So a study was done by Continentally, and they found that financial service companies are increasingly partnering with major publications to leverage content to remain competitive. And these examples are the New York Times, Business Insider, the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Reuters, etc. So they state that these brands are going far beyond talking about their own products, but rather seeking to educate their audience. So the real challenge now is delighting an audience long enough that they stick around. Believe it or not, but the current average attention span is 8 seconds, which is equivalent to a goldfish. So now you're probably wondering, how can I possibly engage somebody long enough that's meaningful and impactful if they have the attention span of a goldfish?
Katrina, I particularly love this stat. Here at Advisor Websites, we do a lot of research on how people use websites. So we talk about it in terms of usability. There's a few things that you need to know, and this is by and far the most important. It's not like reading a newspaper. It's not like reading a book. Online, we have really short attention spans, and it's not just people who we're trying to catch. It's you, and it's me, and it's Katrina. We all can relate to this because that idea of instant gratification have been really introduced through tools like Google, like Yahoo, like websites that work really quickly. The other couple of really important usability aspects of websites in particular are things like making sure when somebody gets to the site, they're able to find and access the information that they came for in the first place. So in terms of content marketing, when we talk about educating your audience, if you work, with people that are getting ready for retirement, maybe one big question that audience has is, when will I have enough money to retire, and will I have enough money to stay retired throughout the rest of my life? And if you can grab people's attention on the home page of your website and make sure that they can get answers to that question right away, that's an extremely usability and user-friendly website.
Exactly. Maggie, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say that the way to really retain a viewer is, as Maggie is saying, is to really compel or to provide content that is really compelling, insightful, relevant to their needs and interests. So things that they are actively questioning and searching for answers for. So HubSpot's 2013 State of Inbound Marketing study found that high-quality educational content is the linchpin of inbound success, and that couldn't be more true with all the DIY options that are flooded within the industry. So this niche gives brands the opportunity to position themselves as valuable assets for consumers, and as Continently has stated, after all, it's easy to build brand loyalty when you're saving people money. So make sure that you're targeting your ideal audience, i.e. investors who need financial education and keep their attention with top-notch content. Maggie, do you have anything to add there?
I'm good, Katrina, thanks.
Okay, awesome. So let's just move right to the third way to really build your business through content marketing, and that's video. So a study was done on driving content marketing success, which found that explainer videos are among the 4 most valuable content assets for driving leads and sales. So on your website and within your newsletters, you want to ensure that you're including educational financial videos. And a great tip is to ensure that or from time to time, try to translate complex blogs or complex ideas into digestible, engaging videos. So I've given an example here of an advisor who's used a video that normally would be a boring and maybe complex idea of RSPs, and instead has made a quick, or has used a quick video that talks about how does making RSP contribution lower my tax bill. And including video is very important because subscribers to lead conversion rates increase by 51% when video is included in the email marketing campaigns.
I will jump in here, Katrina, and I want to address the fact, or one concern that I get quite a bit from the advisors that we work with, and that's simply the fact that, you know, you guys seem really freaked out by video. And I can totally understand. It's not like we all want to be in the spotlight on the internet, you know, putting it all out there. But the example that Katrina just showed us, we call these whiteboard videos, and it's truly just, you know, kind of an animated clip that explains a question or answers a question or explains a concept that you know that your consumers have questions about or that your consumers want more information about. This is one way to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it, let's say economically, so you're not spending thousands of dollars on video, and you also don't have to put your face, you know, behind a video camera or in front of a green screen. So this is one really good example. Thank you for sharing that, Katrina.
Yeah, of course. I quickly want to touch on mobile video because it's becoming increasingly paramount to consider. Americans, for the first time ever, actually accessed the internet via mobile apps more than they did on desktops for the first time of this year in January. And Cisco predicts that mobile video will make up 69% of all mobile traffic. So this is really important, and it's important for you to consider that if you're going to be including video, make sure that your videos are mobile responsive, and that when clients open up, maybe they're opening up your newsletters on their emails, they're searching more online on their phones. So make sure that whatever you're including is going to look really good on mobiles, or else your clients and prospects are going to be very frustrated. And lastly, a really good quote on this by Continentally that I think really summarizes the need for including financial videos is making financial content personal and useful to consumers with educational stories and videos has arisen as a perfect way to capture the attention of a world inundated with entertainment-produced content. So just as we were talking about cutting through the noise with highly relevant content, you need to be cutting through the noise again with educational videos and educational content that your clients and prospects are going to want to read and view. So the fourth way to build your business through content marketing is to use content from credible sources. And this is really, really important. A study that was done by HubSpot concluded that if the mass affluent is indeed your primary target audience, then these are the publications to tap. So publications like the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Reuters, etc. So as financial advisors, you want to be targeting affluent investors, and the absolute best way to grab and keep their attention is by using content from the world's most respected and credible publishers like those previously mentioned. And people are much more likely to share content that is trustworthy and helpful. So 68% will share information that somebody they have trusted has shared with them. 36% of people will share information that will help others, and 35% will share information on lifestyle, so things that are interesting and insightful. So I provided here a couple examples just to show you how easy it is to find content that people are really going to either want to share and that you would want to share if you got. So here's an example of great Asian treasures. So if you know anybody that's traveling or goes anywhere in Asia, where to find some really great markets. And I actually sent this to a client a couple weeks ago as he went on a cruise in Indonesia, and he really found it helpful. If you have any clients that love traveling in Europe, this could be a great article to share with them. It talks about traveling in Europe is going to get a lot cheaper. And lastly, here's if you have any clients or friends that are interested in golf. I know that a ton of our clients love golf, so they love receiving any kind of golf content. Maybe they would like to read about Tiger Woods in decline, unfortunately. And maybe you have some clients or friends that are into traveling and also like technology. So maybe sharing this kind of futuristic robotic bartenders in Caribbean cruises might be really interesting for them to read, and they may know people who they want to share with. So these articles demonstrate that as human beings, we really enjoy reading these types of articles. We want to share these types of engaging and credible sources with our networks. And your business will really benefit from that if you are including these types of content pieces within your web property, so on your website or on your newsletters, as they really are highly shared articles, and that will ultimately drive you new leads. And so the fifth and final tool that or way that you can grow your business through content marketing is to have a consistent messaging across all communication channels. So Maggie, maybe you want to take over here and talk a little bit about websites, since this is really your expertise area.
Thanks, Katrina. So like you just mentioned, we want to make sure that we're sharing a consistent, positive message across all of the different communication channels that we're using in our practice. So of course your website is a hub. If you're using content marketing, more than likely a lot of the content will be hosted or be centralized from your website. So really important there, and I will take a minute to show you an example of kind of a good and bad way to do this, but the website is not the only piece. Just because you have content on your website doesn't mean that people will know that it's there and go visit it and read it and use it. So how do we get that message out? There's a lot of ways that we're doing that. One is through social media. More than likely, you're on LinkedIn. We know 7 out of 10 advisors in Canada and 8 out of 10 advisors in the States are using LinkedIn actively for business. So if you have a content marketing strategy, it's really important to make sure that you're distributing and sharing that content on whatever social media channels you're using in order to drive that traffic, all of your connections, your friends, back to the website. Same with email. If you're not on social media, if you're not blogging, you definitely send emails day to day. And maybe you have a little bit more of a sophisticated email marketing system in place. One common way that we use email in our practices is simply like a monthly newsletter or e-newsletter. So it goes out, and one thing that I often see missing from that newsletter are things like my most recent blog article or my upcoming event. Throw in a little marketing and self-promo in there to make sure you're getting the recognition that you're already working quite hard for. I want to talk just a little bit more about websites. In our industry, historically, websites are not pretty. It seems like from many of our clients and from a lot of our experience, a firm or a financial practice got a website like maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years ago and really hasn't taken time to update it since then. Big problem, because old, outdated websites aren't really effective. I want to run a quick poll question, and I want to know, really, are you happy with your website today? So if you're using a content marketing strategy and you're actively getting traffic to your website and you're actively generating new leads, then the answer should absolutely be yes, I'm happy with my website. But if you don't know how much traffic you have today, or you had in the last month or quarter, or you don't know, you can't quantify how your website has helped your business grow, then it's more likely that the answer is no, I'm not happy with my website. So this is really interesting. I'll share some quick results. It looks like about 30% of us say, yes, we're happy, that's awesome. Everybody else is answering either no, I'm not happy with my website, or I'm not really sure. These numbers are so closely aligned with the stat that I'm about to share with you, it's kind of scary. Back in 2014, Advisor Websites teamed up with our friends at wealthmanagement.com. We surveyed over 1,000 advisors across North America, and we found that 67% of financial advisors were not happy with their existing websites for the reasons that I just mentioned. So not actively generating new traffic and not actively generating new leads. So that's really telling. I think that if you're not happy with your website, the good news is that there's definitely something you can do about it, and it's easy to change. I'll show you an example of really some things that we want to avoid. Katrina has shared some awesome ideas for the types of content that work. Things like educating our audience, using video. A lot of this content will end up in the written word. What we do not want to do is hold all of that content in one place, particularly on the home page of your website. If you've ever navigated to a site, say you're on Google looking for something, and you go to a website and you're like, oh, this is scary, I don't want to get a virus here. So you backspace or you press the back button and you end up back on Google to go to the next result on that list there. A lot of times that happens because the content that you found or the website that you found isn't really helping you. It's not really helping answer those questions, or it's not really the information that you're looking for. Whenever you stack that content on the home page, it makes it hard to really digest and manage and take in. So again, from a consumer's perspective, this is a total usability aspect. Whenever you land on a site that has too much content on it, we find it really overwhelming. If this is what your homepage might look like, or if there's parts of your website that aren't really laid out to best practice, we oftentimes see a really high bounce rate. A high bounce rate means a few different things. One, the biggest one is that people who come to our website can't relate to what we're saying. In fact, some of the more common quotes that we hear from people who have bounced away from websites are things like, this is not the information that I'm looking for. Even if the words on the page are there and they are what they're looking for, a bad layout and design, particularly on the home page, is an automatic sign of, it's an easy way to lose some credibility. Now, one thing that we found in that survey that we did with wealthmanagement.com is that many of the websites that we looked at had a bounce rate of higher than 70%. So you may be wondering, well, what the heck is a bounce rate? If 10 people come to your website and 7 of them leave after viewing just one page of content, that gives you a bounce rate of 70% or higher. So it's really important to understand what makes people leave. Well, overwhelming them with a lot of content is one thing that does it. There's a quote here from one of our friends, Neil Patel. I'm a big fan of the tool Kissmetrics. Kissmetrics helps us identify what makes people leave. And Neil, who's the founder and the president of Kissmetrics, says that a rising bounce rate is really a sure sign that your homepage is boring or off-putting. That's one way that we make people leave right away. So how can we combat this? How can we make our website actually effective for people that are visiting it, particularly for the first time? I'll show you a quick map. We use this quite a bit to help lay out the original or the first-time design process. I'm not going to go through this in real detail because I want to show you a real example, but let me point out a couple of things that are best practice and that hopefully you can say, okay, my website does that. One is the logo, your branding, your tagline, whatever it is, should always appear in the top left-hand corner, and it should stay there no matter what page the user navigates to throughout the entire website. Same with your contact information, particularly the phone number. However you want people to get in touch with you, make sure that it sticks on the top of the page or in a really obvious place, no matter which page that users navigate to. Beneath that, we have a standard navigation menu. When people come to your website, especially for the first time, they have three really big questions. One is, who are you? The next is, what do you do? And the most important one is, as a consumer, why should I care, or how are you going to help me? This navigation menu should at least, at the very, very least, help people get and find answers to those questions right away. Beneath that, we have a big message or a big image, and these are things that really are your core values or your value proposition. What makes you different than those 500,000 other financial advisors out there? And the other big key area that I want to point out is what we're calling a call to action, and that's that box that says, learn about our solution. This can be anything, but it has to be compelling and it has to make the right person click. Now, Katrina, if you'll pass me the reins here, I just want to show you an example of what this looks like in real life. A map is great, and it's a really easy way to kind of get the big picture across, but sometimes it's nice to see a real live example. Okay, so I think I'm just about good here, and I need to switch my screen, so give me 1 second. All right, so what we're looking at here is a demo website. This is not an actual advisor's website, but this is an example of a site that we have built with our friends at AdvisorStream to showcase some of the content and how these tools work together. But before we jump into that, I want to just go back to that map and how these things work together. Or sorry, the best way to lay out your homepage to reduce that bounce rate and make people stick around. So remember that logo and branding in the top left-hand corner. That stays here no matter what page we go to across the entire website. We have our simple nav menu, those three questions, who are you, what do you do, and why should I care? This explains about the team or about the business. This is what they do. This is who they are, and why should you care? Hopefully that's answered in this big box here. Of course, this is a demo site, and it's maybe not, it's maybe not relatable to your financial practice. And this is one of the most important keys here. This is a call to action, so it says learn more. If people are on your website, they like what they see, you've helped them form a really positive first impression, they can learn more. They can book a meeting, they can go grab a coffee with you, they can schedule a personal financial review, anything that's going to be really, really compelling to one person. All right, Katrina, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to you now.
Sure.
And let's kind of wrap up our keeping it consistent across different channels.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just going to reduce some of these things here. So I just want to add a quick note on the website. Maggie did an awesome job of explaining what is really critical for your website. And a little tip is to add a subscribe box or an opt-in form on your website, as Maggie's saying, to learn more or over specific articles, so that as you're posting this valuable content and people are returning to your site and they're starting to realize that you're a unique destination for valuable content, that you're providing this top-notch content for free, that it's addressing all of their concerns, they will want to subscribe to receive ongoing newsletters and communications from you. So that's how you can move them across the marketing funnel and make sure that you're tying everything together from website to email marketing. And Maggie already showed you this example, so I don't think we really need to get into it, but here's just a screenshot of kind of what we looked at and some really relevant targeted content on a website. And with blogs, very quickly, it's a more of an opinionated forum, so this is where you can have more custom content pieces that you've written. And companies who actively blog report 97% more leads, so it's important. And make sure that you're still co-branding your opinionated pieces with credible, respected third-party sources to make sure that you're not only showing yourself as a thought leader, but you're actually reinforcing your messaging with the most respected journalists and publishers in the world. And Maggie already touched on social media, so we can kind of quickly skim through this. LinkedIn is a very, very educational forum, so make sure that whatever content you're posting is highly educational and insightful for those visitors, and that's a sure way to ensure that you're capturing the attention of that social media page. Facebook is more of a branded identity or branded community, so this is where you can post a bit more pictures and updates on your business, but again, ensure that you're posting credible third-party sources to really to make sure that your thought leadership is not lost on that audience. And Twitter is more of a sharing community, so share really, really relevant information, ensure that you're doing some research and seeing what some of your target audience are currently questioning on Twitter, try to answer them. And since Twitter is such a high volume with posts that are constantly being updated, if you have an article that trended really well or got you a few more leads, don't be shy about retweeting it or reposting it, since it's such a high volume. Probably only a fraction of your target audience has seen that post, even if it did well, so feel free to constantly share. And just one point on email marketing. So as we're talking about, once you have that attention of your audience, you now need to really engage them and really educate them to ensure that you're keeping their attention and that you're moving them from a prospect to a client. So even though we share across all the channels in social media, email is still the most popular way to share content, with 66% sharing via email. So it's really important that you have some kind of newsletter in place, because this is where the shares are going to happen, and this is where your leads are going to be really driving the most business for you. And here's an example that I've included of one of our current clients, and they do a fantastic job of sending out newsletters. They send out a weekly news summary that includes usually 3 or 4 really top articles that are relevant to their clients, they know they're going to enjoy, and they also include a couple of lifestyle content pieces, as lifestyle content is usually shared the most. So it's what people enjoy sharing, it's what people enjoy reading, but they also include things that financial questions and concerns that pertain to their clients and that talk about their financial future. And again, when clients or prospects open up the article, it's fully branded and ingested, so no competing advertising, no noise, and all the focus is on the group and the great content that they're providing to their clients for free. So what does this mean for you? I want to give a very, very quick summary of Advisors Team and what we do and how we can help you drive your business and engage your clients. So for those of you who know about us, you can kind of tune us out right now. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to give a very quick overview. So we have publishing partnerships with some incredible publishers and really the best in the world. And every single quarter we add new ones. So in the upcoming quarters, we're going to be adding The Economist and the Financial Times. And we have access to articles and videos. And this is actually a sneak peek into our library that we're currently building out that will be rolled out in the next quarter. We're really, really excited about it. And we don't just dump the thousands and thousands of articles from all our publishing partners into libraries that you now have to spend hours searching through them. We have a content team who highly curates through them, and it's all fully licensed. They first look at what was the most read and the most shared in each publication. Then they take that content, they read every single word of every single article, and only put in the content pieces that they feel are going to be the best for you, that you would want to be putting in front of your investors, that are IRA compliant, that don't say do it yourself at the very end. So they're really going to put you in that credible, positive light. And you can use this content, as we've kind of showing you, in any way that you want that works best with your financial team. So you can include it in a newsletter, you can post your website as Maggie showed you quickly, and no matter where you're posting content to, whether a website or a web property or a newsletter, all articles will always open up in this fully ingested co-branded page with no competing advertising, no paywalls, best possible client experience. And then lastly, for us, it's really not about quantity, it's about quality. So we have lead capture and lead intelligence technology embedded in all articles in our library. So that means that we're not really worried about getting you hundreds of leads. We want to get you the right leads. We want to make sure that you're posting the right content and that you're attracting the right leads and prospects. You could have hundreds of new leads, but if none of them are eventually going to be clients of yours and they're not people you want to be targeting, then it's really, you're doing all this for nothing. So we have proprietary algorithms that can tell you which client generated that lead, which article they opened up, and a little bit about them so that you can actually take this digital referral, see if you want to convert them into a lead, and then the best ways to do this. And lastly, we're really proud about our results. So we have well above the industry standards for many different metrics, and I've included a few of open rates, unique open rates, and unique views. So we are well above, 3 times above industry standards. And we're really quite proud of our top quartile performers, and these people or these advisors do exceptionally well using the platform. They have on average, their unique open rates are 56.7% when the industry average is 19.5%, and their unique open or their unique views is 30.8% when the industry average is 2.3%. So we're really proud of them and proud of this reporting. So if you already have a marketing strategy in place, we'd love to do a quick review with you to tell you how we think we can help you or how you can maybe engage more clients and more prospects, drive the right kind of leads, and build your business. And we're completely agnostic, so if you already have a website, of course with advisor websites we are integrated and we do have special pricing, but we can integrate with anybody. So we would love to do a one-on-one marketing review with you. And if you don't have a strong automated marketing strategy in place, then request a demo. We'd love to do a 15-minute demo with you, show you the platform, understand your specific business needs, and then see how we can really help you take your business to the next level. So feel free to reach out to us if you want either a marketing review or a demo with us, and we would really love to see how we can help take your business to the next level. So Maggie, I'll kind of pass it over to you if you want to just kind of wrap everything up.
Thanks, Katrina. So I'm going to let this poll question run just for a few more seconds here. You guys, AdvisorStream is one of our newer partners, but we don't really take on partners just for fun. We really do quite a bit of due diligence, and we only want to work with the best of financial technology providers out there. So if you have a chance, or if you are looking to kind of efficiently streamline your content marketing strategy, I would really encourage you to learn more about AdvisorStream. Do the one-on-one marketing review. It's free, so there's no kind of risk happening there. I'll go ahead and close this poll question. Thank you very much. And if you'll run on to the next slide, Katrina, I'll give my 2 cents about advisor websites. You guys have stuck around for an awesome session today. I hope that you learned something new, something that you can use in your practice. I'll tell you a little bit about advisor websites. The 2 or 3 things that I think that you should know, you probably got this by now, but advisor websites builds websites only in the financial services and insurance industry. We only work with a very special type of client because we know how specific your business needs are. So the compliance piece, if you work with a broker-dealer or with somebody that needs your compliance taken care of, no problem. The other thing that we're truly focused on is providing a really excellent experience. We're the most loved web provider in the financial services industry, which is something that I'm really proud of. We have an awesome dedicated support team, managers that walk you through the design process. And what you're looking at right now is probably maybe the most important thing to you. It would be to me if this were my website. What we're looking at is this is what you see every time you log into the advisor website's dashboard. Easy to update and maintain any type of content on here, but we have a real focus on results. So the first thing that you're looking at whenever you log into that website are how many people visited your website in the last 7 days, how many leads were generated in the last 7 days. We want to be able to quantify the number of the amount of money you spend on your website and the return on its business. We talked a lot about content marketing. We talked quite a bit about how to use, the content effectively on your website and your web strategy and online presence. If you have any doubts about your website today, I would love for you to meet with somebody from our team and really walk through your website one-on-one, and let's look at what you can be doing better. What opportunities can you take advantage of to make that site more effective? Where can we generate leads and earn new business online? It's about 20 minutes. We do this by phone. It's truly value add. Again, if you're one of those people that said, I'm not sure if I'm happy with my website or no, honestly, I would really recommend it. We get tons of positive feedback about these types of meetings. All right.